Hello, boys and girls. One more time, I'm here in front of you on the other side of your screen, trying and definitely wanting to explain the poem Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson. This poem has been included in the bifurcated syllabus of class 11. Earlier, it was a poem that was included in the reduced syllabus of class 12. Those writing their examination in 2024 will not be having this poem in class 12 but in class 11. So, as a class 11 syllabus, here we start with the poem Crossing the Bar. It is a symbolic poem, it has a lot of inner meaning to it, but at the same time, it is a very optimistic and positive poem, though it talks about death. Now, this particular poem, if you see the box that is just before the page where the poem has been written, that is page 15, you will find it's written here. Tennyson uses the metaphor of a sandbar. Tennyson uses the metaphor of a sandbar, the ridge of sand built up by the currents along the shore, to describe the life and barrier between life and death. And when he crosses this barrier, he will meet his Maker upon his death. Crossing the bar. He is taking the image of the ship. A ship is going out to sea. Now, from this side of the sandbar, where it is anchored in the harbor, to that side of the sandbar, crossing the sandbar, the ship has to cross the sandbar very smoothly. Otherwise, if the ship crashes, then the ship will tilt and the crossing over will not be smooth. So, just like the ship would cross the sandbar and go into the sea, likewise, the poet, here the speaker, wants to cross the sandbar, representing the barrier between life and death. If he crosses the sandbar smoothly, placidly, without any noise, he will go over to the life after life and meet his Maker. His Maker is calling him. All of us, we know death is inevitable, it will come to us. But at a point of time in our life, we think about death. That is, when we are in our late 70s or perhaps 60s also, 70s and 80s, we think about death. We think slowly and steadily we are inching ourselves towards death. So, here the poet, Lord Alfred Tennyson, he wrote this poem in the year 1889, 3 years before he died. He wrote this poem when he was 80 years old, just 3 years. And at the point when he wrote this poem, he was suffering from a severe illness. And that severe illness, that suffering, made him think about death. He talks about death, whom he wants to meet very calmly. He knows death is destined, it is coming. So I better meet death fearlessly, very calmly. Why should I fear death? Nobody should say goodbye to me. I should just pass on to the next world. Because for him, death is not the end of life. For him, death is a new beginning. It is just a transition or a change from life to the world after life, where he's going to meet his Maker. So it's just a transition. It is a new beginning, not the end of life. Life is transient, meaning brief, momentary, ephemeral. See the words that I'm using? And death is final. But at the same time, it is not the end, it is a new beginning. Now, if you see the way the poem starts, see the words that he uses: sunset and evening star, and one clear call. There should be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. First, the image of the ship leaving the harbor and going into the sea. It is sunset, and the evening star, that is Venus, can be seen in the sky. And the ship makes a sound. The sound of the ship that it is going to leave the harbor. It is going to cross the sandbar. There should be no moaning, meaning there should be no sound when he crosses the sandbar, when he puts out to sea, when I am leaving the port. Now come to the poet. Sunset and evening star. Sunset symbolizes end of the day. Sunset means end of the day. And his life is about to end, is nearing end. It's not that he's going to die just now, but he can hear a clear call. This clear call, he is thinking and he thinks that it is the call of death. God is calling me. I can hear it very clearly. So my life is slowly coming to an end. It is sunset. It is evening star. The evening star. Sunset is always accompanied by the evening star. Venus is the evening star that can be seen after the sun has set. And one clear call for me. There should be no moaning, no sound, meaning no expression of pain when I set out and I cross the sandbar. So the first thing you notice about the poem is it begins on a, I'm using this word, somber note. Somber means serious note. It begins on a somber note, very serious note. Sunset accompanied by the evening star, and night is coming. The day is dying, sun is setting. So the depth of the day, it makes him understand that slowly he is going to also die. He finds the depth of the day and its significance very relatable. Just like the ship would want no sound to be made, the ship wants to pass over very smoothly. Likewise, he wants no expression of pain. He doesn't want anyone to express pain, no one to cry for him when he is making this transition from this life to the next life. Okay? Now, the next one. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Now the next. Such a tide as moving seems asleep. When will there be moaning, or when will there be sound? When there is low tide. The bar should be actually submerged in the water. If there is low tide and the bar is not submerged, then the ship will overturn and crash into the bar. So the water should submerge the bar, cover the bar. Then only there will be no moaning. And when will no moaning or no sound be made? When there is a high tide. And such a tide as moving seems asleep. Now there is high tide, and moving or movement seems absolutely calm. That is, now the sea is absolutely calm. So calm, so full that it cannot make any sound or cannot form any froth, any waves. When that which drew from out of the boundless deep is the boundless or the deep ocean, turns again home. Now, what is happening here? The waves of the ocean, it comes rushing into the shore, but then at the end, it goes back into the sea. For the time being, it comes into the land. It stays for the time being in the land, but then it goes and turns home again. It mixes into the sea. Likewise, we, for a time being, we stay here on this earth, but ultimately we turn home again. The soul comes here, and then the soul returns to that infinite bound, that boundless deep, that space of infinity. It goes back there again. Just like the waves come to the shore and then turn home again into the boundless or the limitless area of the ocean, likewise, our soul also comes here and goes back. So we come from that boundless deep and we go back to our home. That is the that is where God is. Then the first stanza is sunset and evening star. The third stanza is twilight and evening bell. What is twilight? That light that can be seen after the sun has set and a little bit of light before darkness. So it is twilight. That means day is coming to an end. It is twilight in his life also because his life is coming to an end. And the evening bell is the bell that is sounded, signaling the end of the day. So just as he had heard a clear call, he can hear the evening bell. It is at this time that he hears the clear call, and after that it is dark. Evening time it is dark. After he dies, it will be dark too. When he dies, may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. When I get into the ship will be steered by God. He will come and he will take me because I can hear his clear call. So when I get into the ship, when I step into the ship, when I embark on the ship, there should be no sadness of farewell, meaning no act of goodbyes. He wants no one to express pain, mourn for him, or show their expressions of goodbye. He wants a calm and a quiet death. For though from out of our bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Then when the ship goes into the sea, it is out of the bourne, meaning boundary of time and place. Likewise, when we make a transition from this life to the next world, we are out of the boundary of time and place. The next world, we are not limited within time and place. The flood or the ocean water will bear or carry me far. And when I go to that far, that is, I go to where my pilot or my maker or my creator will be in front of me. I will see him face to face. And all this can happen only when I have crossed the bar. So he hopes to cross the bar. He hopes to make a transition from life to afterlife because for him, death is not the end, death is just a new beginning where he will meet his pilot, who is a pilot of the ship, that qualified mariner who will steer the ship, who will move or propel the ship forward. God is there steering our lives, holding the steers of our life and moving us. We are going wherever we have to go. It is God who's planning that life for us. He wants to cross the bar and die a peaceful death. His death should be peaceful. His death should be quiet. No one will mourn for him. No one will cry for him. There should not be any act of saying goodbye. And then, after his transition, he will come face to face with his pilot and meet him. That is what he wants. This poem has a lot of symbolism, and like every other poem included in class 11, I will also be including with this video some written material also. With that written material, I hope and I know you will be understanding every part of this poem, every portion of this poem. I hope you've understood this poem clearly. Meet you next time. Thank you.